Welcome to Backstage at Conversions. I am here with Tom Dwyer, who is a front-end developer at trivago. Tom, thank you so much for being with us here today in Dublin on this fine sunny day. It'd be great if you could just tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do at trivago.
So I'm a front-end developer at trivago. I also played a role as a project lead for progressive web apps at trivago as well, which meant that we played a role in the product development and conceptualization of it. And then we created a project team, and then ultimately we developed, well, the PWA that you should see later on. So that is essentially what I'm doing at trivago now.
Could you give us just the brief headline of what you're going to be talking about?
I wanted to show a little showcase as to PWA in itself. So we hear a lot about the concepts of PWA and what it allows us to do, but we don't see so many examples of actually people implementing it, at least on a large scale. So in trivago's scenario, we had to do quite a lot to actually even begin it. So in 2016, we didn't have HTTPS, and we were like, let's do it. Yeah. We want to do PWA. We had some SEO benefits, we were told, and the other fact, it was 2016. Why don't we have HTTPS? So we implemented it, and after the fact, we were like, okay, we can conceptualize some new stuff, and we can take this to a new level. And then we started building this project Meteorite, which was aiming to kill the Google Chrome dinosaur, so that the user would never see that dinosaur again. They were always contained within our own user experience. So we did that, we released it, we saw some quite nice value from it. And then one part of my talk later on goes into how the user experience is basically core and fundamental to the whole process. We learned so much about user experience, it was silly. Now we focus a lot on user experience. We user research everything. All of that stuff goes through user research generally. We realized that actually PWA contains a lot of APIs. Contains a lot of APIs that allow you to do cool things. We have to remember that PWA is a toolbox of APIs that let me have nicer integration with my device. By providing those APIs in web, that makes us excited. The next level to that is we have all of those APIs, but we're still compete with native. Not competing, but we're compared to native. And by being compared to native, we have another level, which is visibility. Now, visibility on web is something that I will also talk about, how native apps have better visibility and how the web is, all websites are essentially hidden behind the browser.
All of our audience can go out and check out your full talk on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/conversions@Google. But is there anything you can share with our audience now that you won't be covering in your talk that you think is interesting to this topic?
I actually have one slide, which is kind of hidden away, which is not necessarily an announcement, but what we're currently doing is making our PWA available on the Windows Store. Because Microsoft have recently announced that they will accept PWAs as a fully fledged member in the Windows Store. Some of the cool things is that the way they have done it is it integrates with their Universal Windows Platform apps, which gives websites the ability to use the APIs inside of Windows, which could be very cool. But more so, actually, I think seeing what they've done there actually is a very good example to see what might come in the web. Are we going to have this situation where all websites are able to access native APIs through a store, for example? That could be a real great opportunity.
What's the biggest challenge that you are facing at being more successful on mobile?
I think the biggest challenges on mobile really are really understanding the user. Because on mobile, you have a lot more variables than previously on desktop. For a long time, we had desktop, and we could kind of guess our users or their behavior a little bit, where they are, their environment. We kind of could understand that they're probably at home or they're probably at the office and they're on their desktop PC. With mobile, you cannot really guess that. You have to get intent. You have to find this out through some other way. They could be at a shopping mall. They could be at work. They could be at home still and they're still using their phone. They could be out walking to the shop. You never know where they could be. You never know their mindset or what kind of, did they have a bad day? Did they have a good day? Using this technology to at least make those user experiences better for those people, I think is cool.
And tell me, what are some of the common pitfalls that you see companies making time and again?
I think it's the reliance on pure qualitative data. So by seeing that your conversion has gone up by 2%, this is a really nice thing to see as a business, of course. But as Michael previously said in one of his presentations, it could be a false positive.
Yeah.
So by actually finding out from the users and having a very large interest in user research and getting that quantitative data, we can actually find out whether they actually are liking that experience.
Listen, Tom, thank you so much for being with us today. How can our audience find out more about you and your thinking?
They can find me on Twitter at Tom_says_things. Tom says things, basically, but with underscores.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Tom. Have a great talk, and we'll see you later. All of our full talks today, including Tom's, will be available on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/conversions@Google.